So we have a race in Portland to talk about, IndyCar race in Portland this past weekend, and it was a weekend that was just surrounded in controversy, questions, and all of the sorts. Alex Palou was leading the championship coming into this by a shit ton, so it's going to be interesting to see if Pato O'Ward can put up a fight for that. All the controversy surrounding Will Power and that situation and what he's going to be doing next year for Penske possibly. And then obviously, just kind of like the past couple of weeks, we've had weird kind of moments with the officiating in IndyCar, so I feel like we have quite a bit to get into. Leading up to this race, it looked like Christian Lundgaard was possibly going to be the car to beat that day, as he looked really strong this weekend. Was able to win the pole position, but unfortunately did not get it because of that engine penalty, so he was dropped 6 spots back. So Pato O'Ward technically got pole position for this race starting out. Ran really well until he ran into an electrical issue, and I believe lap 22, which pretty much ruined his chances of a championship. All that was really left seemed really unlikely, obviously, with the big gap that Alex Palou has. But I mean, there was still a chance, but completely folded today, so sucks to see for him. He was having a championship level season himself, but the historical greatness of Alex Palou's season just kind of outshines anything else that has happened this season. And things were looking really decent all day. I feel like it was a lot better than last year, a lot more competitive. Had some big moments in this that we're going to get into. And if you didn't see, which I don't know how you haven't, I feel like it's been trending on social media in terms of the IndyCar world. The incident this weekend between Connor Daly and Christian Rasmussen, just a hot-headed battle in the early parts of this race. That unfortunately ended in a big incident with Connor Daly running into the wall at the end. It all started when Christian Rasmussen and Connor Daly were battling for position. Christian pushes him too wide, Connor goes into the dirt. So I feel like in kind of a retaliation move, which wasn't good on Connor's part, goes back on track and after a while makes contact with the back of Christian Rasmussen. Just not great to see, so it felt like things were kind of tipping to a boiling point between the two, and it completely did, as Rasmussen in the fastest part of the track pushes Daly off. Daly goes soaring into the wall and just hits it hard. Sucks to see for Connor Daly, who is having a decent start at first, and just also the fastest part of the track. You never want to see someone go straight into the wall in an incident like that. I mean, it's very dangerous. I mean, I'm glad things were okay and Connor was okay, but it's just an interesting scenario too, because there was no penalty from race control on the incident, which I think was completely crazy. I think their justification for this is the fact that the two were kind of battling a little bit, so it's kind of just an eye for an eye situation, which I don't agree with. It should have just been an immediate penalty to Rasmussen when he pushed him off the track the first time, so we didn't have to lead to this boiling point. But that's how race control has been the last couple of weeks, and for the whole season it's just been very inconsistent. So just more and more, I've talked about it week in and week out, that there needs to be this independent body now. I understand we're getting it after this season, but this just, there's so many great examples, I feel like, this year of race control not doing their job properly and just being all over the place, and it was really showing today. And with last week with that incident with Marcus Ericsson on the top of the corkscrew, just absolutely crazy. So completely agree, dangerous move, should have been taken care of by race control earlier than it happened. But at the same time too, one critique I will have for Connor is like, dude, we don't need to be tweeting mid-race at another driver who's still driving on track. That was funny as shit. It's like, what do you want him to do, respond while he's still in the car? Like, maybe just save this for after the race when you can go up and talk to him and let some of those emotions come down a little bit. Completely warranted, but just kind of a goofy approach, all I'll say. And the other incident in this race that was weird with the race control as well is Scott Dixon got a penalty for spinning Joseph Newgarden in the middle of this race, which was a lesser of a serious incident than this was, but for some reason Scott gets a penalty for that, but then we don't have a penalty for Rasmussen. So once again, just really inconsistent with the race control lately. After all the craziness of that, what kind of made up for this race, I feel like, was the big battle that we saw at the end between Will Power, Christian Lundgaard, and Alex Palou. At one point between all three of them, it was less than a second gap between them and the leader, Will Power. Will Power on used reds, Christian Lundgaard on those new reds, and Alex Palou chasing behind. It was really interesting, honestly, and a really good battle. I feel like that kind of made up for the big gap that we saw last year. So it did make this race exciting, and you'll love to see it. Christian Lundgaard was gaining, had a couple of opportunities, but just couldn't quite get close enough. And I honestly think the thing that helped Will Power in this incident was looking at Alex Palou behind. Went for a few overtakes on Christian Lundgaard, but just didn't quite work, and ended with Alex Palou eventually going in the dirt and able to recover. But those two battling behind Will definitely helped him get the win on the day, and the thing that really solidified it was a gap that David Lucas made as Will Power was able to get past him, and he kind of held up Christian for just a second. Obviously nothing crazy, but that definitely helped him. So all these little things helped, and Will Power, as Penske was possibly going to have a winless season, gets Penske their first win of the season, which is crazy thinking about what could possibly happen after, which he's not even possibly going to be driving for Penske next year. So he could potentially be Penske's only winner and be out of a job next year, which is just absolutely insane. Great to see for Will Power, but it's kind of crazy to think about with the job security for next year and if he'll even have a job on the IndyCar grid. I mean, it's all kind of up in the air right now, as he won't know until Nashville, as it was kind of reported before the weekend. But just that's crazy for someone potentially picking up your whole team's first win of the season to be out next year is crazy. But I mean, that's how racing works. It's a brutal business sometimes. But on another note, great to see for Christian Lundgaard, who potentially had a chance at a win but picks up another podium, so he's building steam. He's going to be picking up that first win for McLaren soon, if not in these last couple of races, definitely next year. And Alex Palou, I mean, what more can you really say? 4th championship in 5 years. Dude's absolutely dominant. If he's not going to be winning, he's going to be up there contending for a podium or a really good position. Historical greatness. I mean, there's not much more you can really say about Alex Palou at this point. The dude's amazing. He has the 3rd most championships in IndyCar history besides Scott Dixon and AJ Foyt, which I think by the end of his career he may surpass both of them, which in this modern era of IndyCar is absolutely insane with all the talent that we have now. Dude's just on a run right now that is absolutely crazy and cannot be kind of understated how crazy this is. I know some people are annoyed with how much he's been winning and kind of been the main focus on IndyCar this season, but I mean, how can you not? He has 8 wins this year. He's already locked up the championship with 2 to go. Dude's on a run right now that is absolutely crazy, and he's still relatively young, so I mean, he still has a long way to go in the series if he wants to, so it may be the Palou show for quite a while in IndyCar. The race, though, this year was a lot better than last year, and honestly, in general, was a pretty decent race. I feel like this race has been criticized in the past for kind of being boring a little bit, but I felt like in terms of what you can get out of this track and out of these cars, it was a pretty damn good race. You had that battle in the front of the pack. You had the crazy moments in the middle of the race. So anyone that's kind of saying that it was a shit show, I don't understand what more you want at this point. I mean, I would love to know if anyone kind of disagrees with this take, to put in the comments how you felt about the race, like what maybe wasn't as good. But other than that, I feel like it was a pretty decent weekend. So just going over the results from Portland real quick, starting from the back. In 27th, Santino Ferrucci, after that wreck in the start of the race, just had a couple of struggling last couple of races for him. Obviously, the incident in Toronto where he couldn't race because of the wreck in the warm-up, just some issues lately, and then the crash today. I mean, it sucks to see for Santino. I mean, just some bad luck lately. Connor Daly, 26th, same thing for him. Just some bad luck after an incident with Christian Rasmussen. Hard crash, hoping he's doing all right after that. Pato O'Ward, 25th. Sucks to see for him, too. I mean, electrical error takes him out completely, so wasn't even his own fault. So fought for everything that he could this season, but just unfortunately came up short. Joseph Newgarden, 24th after the spin. Dude's just had a season of just struggles. I mean, it's all over the place for Joseph Newgarden. A lot of it not even his fault. So sucks to see for him. Jacob Abel in 23rd, Marcus Ericsson in 22nd, Kiffin Simpson in 21st, Kyle Kirkwood in 20th. Kind of surprised me a little bit. David Malukas in 19th as well. Sucks to see, qualified really well, but just unfortunately fell back in the race. Devlin DiFrancesco in 18th, Rinus VeeKay in 17th, Nolan Siegel in 16th, Robert Schwartzman in 15th, Stingray Robb in 14th, Louis Foster in 13th, Christian Rasmussen in 12th. Crazy that he did not receive any penalties and was able to score that high, so I guess luck kind of shines sometimes for you. Scott Dixon in 11th, Colton Herta in 10th, Felix Rosenquist in 9th, and Marcus Armstrong in 8th. Great to see for the Meyer Shank team, honestly. They've been killing it this season. Scott McLaughlin in 7th. Great bounce back for him, honestly. Callum Ilott in 6th. Dude has just been on a kind of a tear lately in terms of getting some good results, these top 10s, and just some quiet top 10s for him, honestly. Great to see for him in the Prema team. Alexander Rossi in 5th. A great race for him, honestly, for a season that's just been very up and down. And Graham Rahal in 4th. great to see for Graham, honestly. And then Alex Palou in third. I mean, what more can you say? Gets a podium, won his 4th championship. Christian Lugard, really strong day. Looked like he could possibly contend for a win, but just unfortunately couldn't get it in second. And then obviously your race winner, Will Power, in first. So yeah, a pretty good race. If you didn't quite catch the race over the weekend, I'd go back and catch it if you can, especially that battle towards the end. It was really fun. Really enjoyed that. And I feel like after this, we potentially have more questions than we do answers. Obviously, the Will Power situation, what's happening with that? What's happening with the Penske situation? What are we going to see with 2 races to go, as Alex Palou is already locked in the championship? So we're just going to have guys chasing for wins. Or are we going to see some crazier shit happen than we've seen before, as there's no reason to kind of hold back a little bit? We don't have a championship fight, so it's going to be all gas, no brakes. 2 ovals to end the season, the Milwaukee Mile and Nashville. I'm really looking at Milwaukee, as that was one of the best races of the season last year in night 1. Unfortunately, we don't get a doubleheader, but probably for the best, honestly. But really excited for that race, honestly. It was so good last year, so I hope it lives up to it this year. And then we have the finale in Nashville. Who doesn't love a season finale at an oval? I mean, we all ask about ovals, so ending on one is pretty damn cool. And another good stat that I found from this race is Ganassi is now tied with Penske for the most championships in IndyCar right now. And things might be taking more of a swing, I think, with Ganassi taking that top spot from Penske. So it'll be interesting to see next year if we get another Ganassi championship and they overtake Penske as the top team in IndyCar. I feel like things are already trending that way. Just going to have to wait and see. So obviously, as we get closer to the end of the season, the silly season is going to start. Where are drivers going to go? Who's going to stay? Who's going to get the boot? You know, a lot of those questions are going to be saved, obviously, for after the season, but it's something that's already starting to build now. So a lot of those questions are arising. I feel like the tensions are just getting higher and higher across the grid. So, I mean, really remains to be seen, and a lot of questions had and very few answers, but hopefully we can just focus on some good racing for the rest of this month. It sucks to see the IndyCar season getting so close to an end already. I feel like it just started not that long ago. I wish the season was longer. I love IndyCar. I love watching it throughout the year. It's going to suck to see it go, but a pretty damn good year this year, and a very historical year. I feel like that's the best way to look at it with the dominance of Palou, is we are seeing historical greatness, possibly at its finest. I mean, we could potentially be looking down the line at the greatest IndyCar driver to ever drive in the sport. So that's some pretty high expectations, but I mean, with the way things are heading, I mean, who the hell knows? So yeah. I'd be interested to hear any thoughts down below just about the race in general. I know I kind of was all over the place with this today, so I apologize about that. But just kind of let things naturally flow a little bit more in these and not have it so kind of laid out, just kind of giving the thoughts on it, you know. So I'd love to hear any thoughts down below about the race in general, or just the IndyCar silly season. Who's potentially going to be where next year? Any spots do you think are going to be filled up by a surprise driver? I don't know. So yeah, hope you all have a great rest of your day. Looking forward to the rest of the season, and we'll see you in a couple weeks for Milwaukee. And one last thing, I've seen a lot of questions from certain media personalities and questions on social media. Do we need a playoffs in IndyCar? And I feel like there's just kind of one quick phrase for this. Fuck no.